Hi everyone, this is Jon Zuber from HTS New England. I'm here to talk to you about turning wastewater into watts, how you can recover energy from your wastewater. Let's first talk about water usage in wastewater. The average person uses about 24 gallons of hot water per day at around 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Now the wastewater leaving an average residential building is actually closer to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's because that hot water used mixes together with other water sources such as standard sinks or drinking fountains, etc., and that temperature comes down and the volume goes up. Commercial and industrial wastewater temperatures can reach up to 140 or even be higher depending on what's going on in that building. And then when we're looking at the source itself, wastewater as the source itself, looking at black water and gray water, which black water is water from toilets and sinks. It might contain some solids in it that we need to deal with. And then gray water is water from showers, bathrooms, washing machines, dishwashers, and so on. And this water goes into sanitary sewers. And from there also it can lead to, of course, lift stations and treatment centers. So how can we recover energy from this wastewater? Here we'll look at site source versus off-site. Whereas a site, I'm talking about a building. So on the smaller scale of things, we're looking to recover energy from wastewater before it leaves the building. These are smaller systems, 60, 120, 180 MBH. These systems can be built in a modular fashion and be scaled to the need or the demand of the building. And these systems have built-in heat pumps. Directly taking, extracting heat from wastewater and injecting it into a heat load, we're looking at around a 3.5 COP. And then if that's paired with also a cooling load, that COP can double. An ideal application for something like this would be any building that has a high domestic hot water load, so for example, a dorm. When it comes to offsite, these are much larger systems, 2,500 MBH up to 11,000 MBH maybe. Similar COP of 3.5 when paired with commercial water source heat pumps. And ideal applications here are huge industrial plants, commercial plants, large multifamily, or even commercial or district energy level. Let's look at a small scale site sourced example. For our wastewater energy recovery unit, we have a built-in evaporator tank, a built-in heat pump and refrigeration system, control panel. Here we're going to be looking at domestic hot water, so we have a domestic hot water rated heat exchanger acting as our condenser. And not shown here, but if you had something with a cooling load, you could also incorporate recovering energy for the cooling application as well. And then separate from the unit, but very important to the system as a whole, we're going to need a wastewater holding tank and then a pump in order to move water around. So looking at simple operation here, we have city water entering a building, entering a storage tank. We're going to take some of that city water and we're going to put it into our wastewater energy recovery unit. And then on the other end, we're going to be taking wastewater from our wastewater holding tank and we're going to put it into our evaporator tank and we're going to extract energy from there, put the energy extracted through the refrigeration cycle, and we're going to inject that energy into city water and heat up domestic hot water, send it back to our domestic hot water tank, and then that can be used for hot water throughout the building. With this, you're able to offset anywhere from 30 to 100% of your domestic hot water load, depending on your building profile. Looking at a larger scale offsite example, for our wastewater energy recovery unit, we have a filtration system, a macerator or grinder to deal with solids, and then a heat exchanger to exchange the energy from the wastewater into a separate loop. Now, I mentioned before that the smaller scale systems have built-in heat pumps. These large scale systems need to be paired with commercial heat pumps, or you can inject or extract heat from a greater building loop. It's important to note, separate from this energy recovery skid, if you will, you also still need a wastewater holding tank and a pump system. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you all in person and answering any questions you might have.